Welcome, everybody. So we are going to keep on the conversation and building of what has been saying the French minister Sébastien Martin and all the thought leader of the industry on digital twins applied to industry and how AI is amplifying the digital twins. Now it's time to get a little deeper into the subject. We are going into the research and development issue, and we have some of the best experts in the world here. We have Jean-Yves from Arkema. He's going to talk about how generative AI applied to chemistry, and IBM, who has been 10 years in advance in the subject since a long time with Watson and today Watson X. So I'm very enthusiastic about this discussion. We want to know how AI is today in research and development. Is there a kind of maturity today? Jean-Yves.
So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to this session. So Arkema's motto is innovative material for a sustainable world, and I think the great advantage that AI and generative AI can bring to the picture is our capacity as an Eastern organization to stay at the top of the competition, to stay innovative, and to manage to bring new technologies, new sustainable technologies to our customers. So this is really the key. This is really where we believe that innovation needs technology, needs AI, needs agentic capabilities to be able to go where our customers needs us to be.
Yeah, you're dealing with enormous formulation spaces, multiple constraints. We often say that AI is hallucinated and is not for research and development. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. Of course, you need to be very careful. I think the technology is evolving extremely fast. Some people would say too fast for us to follow, but we try to keep up. No, there is a strong need to really go into this world of generative AI. Of course, generative AI has been used by 99.9% of the people for text. We've all loved ChatGPT and any other engine and model that you can think about. Now the real question is how do we bring that technology to real-world problems that can really move the needle in terms of innovation. And in fact, working with IBM, we can say that generative AI applied not to text but to molecules is 5 times more efficient than a standard model. Standard to be defined, but at the end of the day, we really are in a position where we think that it's the way to bring new molecules, new products, new materials to our friends and our customers.
Fantastic. Guilhaume, from IBM perspective, maybe we can zoom out a bit because artificial intelligence is not new for IBM, no? And so maybe we can zoom out a bit and then come to the last 2 years and see what has changed, especially in application for research and development.
Yeah, of course. And this is what is interesting is that we are having a kind of maturity of generative AI in other domains than text. And we apply exactly the same principle as, I would say, large language models, but applied to chemistry. And if I give you a little bit of a technical glimpse about what is it, basically, you train GPT model with a lot of text data, a lot of images around the world. So GPT model became a kind of digital twin of the knowledge. Okay. So the question is, how do you do a digital twin of a molecule? And instead of having text, I would say, which is words that make a sentence, you can imagine that we use atoms and atoms that make a molecule. And a sentence, I would say, make a paragraph after in order to make a meaning in a book. So an ensemble of molecules means, I would say, you have a formula. And at the end of the day, you have an experience with the product, which is a formula. So we replace, I would say, the basic data that is used to train, I would say, such model with chemistry data, with parameters of electronic density, etc. And those models, I would say, those generative AI models, are able to learn, I would say, the chemistry and the physics of the chemistry also after. and become, I would say, generative, able to generate molecules, able to generate formula, but also to understand the property and even generate material that doesn't exist and that we could, I would say, investigate more further.
Incredible. So, Jean-Yves, in research and development applied in chemistry, there are hundreds of patents every year. How do you sort them and see which one can be applied for your case studies?
So this is a case where traditional generative AI can be used, actually. We have developed internally a tool that helps us to actually look through literature.
Patent search?
Patent search, exactly. This is a tool that we developed in-house. That was the objective was twofold. And the first objective was to learn about this technology and apply them to our problem. But obviously, the second objective is to use such a tool, use LLM in a real situation where you bring value right away. At the end of the day, a tool like that is deployed in the entire organization. I mean, theoretically, it will be officially deployed at the end of this year, but let's say it's deployed. And it helps us to divide by a factor of between 3 and 4 our time needed to do literature search. And you cannot do research if you don't know where you stand as compared to your competitors. So this is key, and this is a direct use of generative AI for research. Of course, the next step is to bring on top of the text capabilities, the chemistry capabilities, and that's where my friend from IBM is going to help, hopefully.
Fantastic. So we know more or less how works the LLMs by predicting the next word, the next token. So you talk about how to apply that in chemistry, maybe by predicting the next assembling of molecules. So can you kind of apply this framework, I don't know, from properties to creation of molecules? Like, how do you apply this predictive modeling of generative AI to both of you?
So, I think you need to think as an end-to-end flow. So the scientific process is first to study a scientific topic, and then in order to that you do a literature review. And then you make out, okay, now based on this literature review, you need to discover what is your experiment plan in order to reach the target property of a given chemical or a given, I would say, product that we want to develop. So that is very scientific. And at each step, you can apply, I would say, generative AI in order to foster, I would say, more creativity, but also more acceleration and more ability to tame the complexity of all that. You know, there is more than 1 million new papers every year that you need to tackle when you are, I would say, a chemist or whatever. So how do you tame, I would say, 1 million papers? You need to use generative AI to crunch it down and to select, I would say, the 10 most relevant and to deep dive, to build knowledge graph in order to understand what was the experiment, what was the condition, how this material had been used. So a lot of insight, and then you generate an experiment plan. And actually, in order to make an experiment, we require a lot of time in order to do it in laboratory. When you are testing a new formula, it can take 2 weeks as well as 3 months. So the question is that, how can I reduce the number of experiments? So the point is to use generative AI in molecule, in chemistry, not to find the exact answer, but to reduce the complexity and reduce by factor 2 the number of experiments you have to do in order to find the target molecule. So it's really a full process where you are mixing generative AI for literature review, for property prediction, but also for reporting, because you need to report at the end of the day. So the point is really to accelerate and to streamline the research process.
And if I may add something to that, I agree 100% to what Guilhaume said, but we even want to go further. Of course, you need to start there. We are not there yet, but we will. But the next step is really to go even further and to say, okay, my customer needs this property or these set of properties, because actually it's more complex to work with a set of properties than with one properties. The AI should at some point be able to tell us almost, this is the experiment you should be doing. Of course, we will go progressively. We're not going to start with that blue horizon kind of a goal right away, but that's kind of the direction we need to go.
Fantastic. So we have structure prediction, property estimation, and literature mining. But what about the workflow? Does generative AI and agentic AI impacting the way you are working and the way you are addressing innovation in itself?
The answer is yes, and the answer is complex. Of course, Guilhaume just reminded you of the scientific process, for those of you who have not done that in a couple of years. And really, I think agentic AI can reshape that completely. There's a capacity with tools, AI-based tool, to at the same time do the hypothesis and the conclusion, I would say. And this is where we really need to, the direction in which we really need to go. The second aspect that I think is very important is that all of that, at the end, can be also combined with automation, with robots, with high throughput experiments. And this is really going to move the needle from 20th century to 21st or 22nd century by allowing us to have fully automated labs that completely rethink, I would say, the paradigm of scientific discovery.
Exactly. And to build on that, without giving any sensitive details, do you have any success stories to share of?
So you mentioned patent search, for which we communicated quite a lot already. So yes, it's a success story. Thanks for reminding me of this one. I would have forgotten otherwise. We have already worked on some tools on formulation so far on our own to learn. So we have tools that have been deployed within some of our business units in our adhesive segment, where we do connect ingredients to properties of formulation. But of course, as we were saying in the last 5 minutes, the objective now is to go further and to connect not an ingredient to a formulation or a product, but to connect a property for a customer to a chemistry that we need to develop. And this is the next step, but it is based on the foundation of those 2 or 3 big success stories that we have already been developed and deployed throughout the group.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask Guilhaume, with his transversal vision and the hundreds, thousands of use cases that they are seeing at IBM, how do you see all this, all our industrial companies maturing toward this Gen AI adoption at scale, and what are the best practices?
So one best practice is to strengthen, I would say, the data platform. Mainly, I would say, AI use data in order to train the model. So the most you are leveraging your proprietary data, the most differentiation you will have from using the AI from this data. Otherwise, I would say, of course, you have, I would say, all the model of what we call the frontier planet, they know about chemistry, etc. But if every company is using the same model at the end of the day, everybody have the same capabilities. So the game is really to fine-tune your model, to create, I would say, differentiation with small model, because we know that it's not, you don't need thousands of GPU to train a model. You don't need. A very small model is just a matter of a few GPU. So the question behind is that what do you do? What do you want to train? What is your core science? And how do you want to differentiate in this domain? So the best practice is look at the R&D data, structure it. Imagine what you can do with models, embed it into your workflow, because there is a matter of adoption also, a matter of scientific adoption, to have a new tool. It's not because you are a scientist that you put a new tool on the table and then, hey, use it. No, there is a really strong adoption point. So that is, I would say, an end-to-end workflow. So focus and go ahead of the truth, the full vertical approach, meaning digital experience, data, models, workflow, all that combined into a single project.
Incredible. And so if we take the words of our minister and that we need to accelerate, what is the bottleneck? What prevents us for accelerating?
There's a lot. The first one, I think, is talent. I think we absolutely need to remind our schools. We have one of the greatest school system in the world, engineering school system in the world. I'm not sure 100% of them have already started the data and the AI journey that they need to tackle right now, because we are suffering from a scarcity in terms of talents. The second thing for all the industry, like the chemical world, is certainly what Guilhaume was saying. It's the data. I remember in a former life, in a former organization, speaking to the CTO who would tell me, how is it possible that you don't have anything out yet? You've been working on that for 2 months and there's no model. Okay, it's the CTO, so you need to find something to answer. But then the real answer was the data is crappy. It's disorganized, it's everywhere, it's difficult to find. And working on this data foundation, working on recovering the data, working on getting the data into one single database. For the success story I was mentioning earlier about the formulation things for our adhesive segment, that represented 50% to 60% of the time and the budget of the project. So if you do not invest into your data, nothing is going to happen.
Fantastic. So we have like 3 minutes left. I would like to take this time to go a little beyond and to go to the frontiers of the subject, even if we get a little technique. As far as I understand, we have very good silo of expertise, and AI is very good to be expert in something. How, with IBM, you have a transversal vision. How do we orchestrate all the intelligence between all these silos?
The silo of data, you mean?
Or the silos of data, or in a company, like if we are dreaming of an alive system, an alive company that would be operating, as we were saying in the panel before, 24/7, how is the orchestration between all the agents?
No, it's a good point. And I believe that agentic AI will help a lot here. Because why? At the end of the day, the scientific process, even if you have a workflow of science, that means that you need to leverage a lot of tools. It's not just, I would say, okay, I do a calculation and then I do a report. No, you have a process, you need to measure what you do, you need to extract a lot of information. And people that are doing, I would say, for example, a formulation in production are into a data silo that is different from the people who are formulating. So the point is that at the end of the day, if you are able to expose this data to agentic workflow, that means that the agent can crawl and can go outside into the different data silo in order to reach what you need to do. Let's imagine a simple use case, for example. You need to improve the yield of a given chemical or a given product. Then you can extract the data coming from the production, extract the data coming from the marketing, maybe that have a return of experience of this given product, extract the data coming from, I don't know, the patent team who are doing this patent crawling about all the information, and then let the agentic workflow orchestrate all that into executing the workflow correctly. So this is how we can break silo with agentic workflow.
Jean-Yves, do you agree on that? Do you see that coming, or is it far?
Oh, no. I could have answered yes 6 months ago, no now, and absolutely not tomorrow. No, it's moving extremely fast, and we really see already how a tool deployed in one siloed function of an old organization can impact right away what's happening next in the other part of the organization. So it is real. It is already happening.
So we have a few seconds to finish. What is the message we can give to all the people coming here?
First of all, thank you for being here. And then it's a journey. Please help us in convincing our school and our government that we need to invest more and more in AI and these technologies. But it's a journey, but it's a journey that can bring a lot of value to our industry. So let's embrace it.
And on my side, I would say, okay, think beyond large language model. Think about a small language model that you can do in your core science that make a difference in your market.
So please spread the message. Let's adopt AI at scale. Thank you very much.